It's a relatively lighthearted personal biography titled The Third Door. The book primarily tells the story of a college freshman named Alex Banayan, the author of the book. It narrates his experience of attempting to interview Bill Gates. This young man, Alex Banayan, isn't a media professional. Instead, he's an ordinary freshman at the University of Southern California in the United States. He interviewed Bill Gates and other notable figures like Warren Buffett, Mark Zuckerberg, and Steve Wozniak. Despite the interviews going differently than expected, Alex Banayan is successful. After the publication of this book, he was selected for Forbes magazine's 30 Under 30 list of business leaders. Business Insider magazine named him one of the most influential individuals under 30. I hope you don't see it as a story, but rather as a reference book for action strategies to navigate unfamiliar situations quickly. At the same time, it's also a textbook with case studies on how to package personal experiences in a way that captivates strangers. It is what illustrates the meaning of the third door. The author believes that there are often 3 doors in front of us. The first door is the main entrance, where 99% of people wait in line to enter. The second door is the VIP entrance, where the privileged offspring of celebrities quietly slip in. But very few people know about the third door. You must break away from the established route and explore a different path to enter this door. In simple terms, it's about creating your way. And what this book presents to us is precisely this unconventional way of thinking. Now, I'll break down the book from 2 aspects and narrative techniques. In the first part, let's discuss Alex Banayan's story and analyze his action strategies. In the second part, we'll step outside this book and use Alex Banayan's story as a case study to talk about how to turn your personal experiences into a captivating narrative. Part 1, Action Strategies. Let's talk about Alex Banayan's story and how he managed to interview Bill Gates. But before addressing this question, we must understand why he wanted to interview Bill Gates. Since childhood, Alex Banayan had a fondness for reading biographies of famous people. Over time, he noticed a common flaw in these biographies. They typically covered how these celebrities amassed their initial fortunes but often skipped over the specifics of their first steps. In other words, they didn't detail how these individuals took that crucial first step. For example, in the case of Steven Spielberg, his first short film, Amblin, caught the attention of a vice president at Universal Pictures, which led to his breakthrough. While it sounds like a classic inspirational story of a genius being discovered, there must be a piece. How did Spielberg manage to get his film into the hands of a high-ranking executive at Universal Pictures? This raises a question: how did he break through in the first place? Alex Banayan realized that these gaps in biographies held the real secrets of these people's success. So, at 19, as a freshman in college, Alex created a list of people he wanted to interview, including Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Mark Zuckerberg, and others. He aimed to uncover the untold secrets and then turn them into a book, sharing the proper methods of success with others. With his goal set, Alex needed to figure out how to take action. To write a book, he needed to accomplish 3 things. 1. How to secure funding for the interviews. These celebrities were located in different cities, and he needed money for travel, flights, and accommodation. 2. How do you secure one-on-one interviews with these individuals? 3. How to convert these interviews into a book. Alex Banayan's action strategies in addressing these challenges were quite interesting. Let's start with the first step, securing funding. The interviews would require around $10,000. Considering traditional part-time jobs wouldn't cut it in the time frame, and he couldn't rely on investing without capital, Alex devised a strategy with the highest probability of quickly earning the needed money, participating in a TV game show called The Price is Right. Yes, you heard it right. The game involves audience members guessing the prices of various items. The early rounds feature appliances like TVs and fridges, while later rounds involve more expensive items like yachts and sailboats. If you guess the price correctly, you win the item. However, this requires some skill, such as understanding market prices. Though this might sound like sheer luck, Alex looked at it differently. Why was the selection process so challenging? because many people applied and the show's directors were strict. So, he questioned, what criteria were the directors using for selection? While most participants thought it was about finding the best guessers, Alex's perspective shifted. The show's ultimate goal wasn't to see the best guesser but to create an entertaining show that would attract viewers. Therefore, the criteria weren't about the best guesser but the most entertaining contestant. With this in mind, Alex's goal transformed. During the auditions, he didn't aim to be the best guesser, he desired to be the most entertaining contestant. This perspective shift gave him an edge. As for the auditions, Alex looked into the judges' profiles, trying to understand their preferences in music, clothing, and recent topics they might be interested in. Then, he prepared himself accordingly. While the specifics of his audition process aren't detailed here, the outcome is clear: Alex successfully passed the audition and became a contestant. This shift in perspective didn't just increase his chances, but also increased his odds of winning. His goal wasn't to be the best guesser, it was to be the most entertaining contestant. And it worked. In the end, Alex Banayan won the competition and earned a prize, a sailboat. Now, this might seem like a lucky turn of events. Still, the key takeaway is how Alex meticulously identified overlooked rules and transformed a seemingly low-probability event into a high-probability one. He analyzed the situation, understood the underlying motivations, and acted on that understanding. So, this first part of Alex's story highlights how he navigated challenges and created opportunities through strategic thinking and adaptation. It's a lesson in recognizing unconventional pathways to achieve your goals and capitalizing on them. Now, Alex Banayan had to tackle the second challenge: how to interview these prominent figures. Contacting these celebrities is easy since their agents' contact information is often publicly available online. Initially, one might think of sending direct requests via email, persisting through repeated failures. Indeed, many people who want to interview someone like Bill Gates try this approach. However, the success rate using this method is almost zero. Even if your email gets noticed, it's hard for someone to believe you easily. What's needed is not just conveying information but enhancing your credibility to make the other party believe in you. Alex Banayan realized he needed Bill Gates to believe that, although he lacked interview experience and wasn't associated with any media organization, he was a young and promising individual with fresh ideas, someone worth an hour interviewing. In simple terms, Alex needed to figure out how to establish his credibility quickly. To address this problem, Alex developed a highly ingenious action strategy called a network-style approach. Imagine Alex's actions as a web centered around his ultimate goal, interviewing Bill Gates. Once the goal was set, he expanded this web's boundaries around that central point. He started by searching for individuals close to Bill Gates who trusted him and looking for any familiar faces. He aimed to gain their trust and potentially secure their endorsement if he found any. Suppose he didn't find anyone he knew. In that case, he'd broaden the web another layer, looking for individuals within Bill Gates' circle of trust, seeking to establish connections with people he could personally vouch for. Eventually, Alex identified a well-known author named Tim Ferriss, who wrote the book Tools of Titans, featuring advice from high-performing individuals, including entrepreneurs, artists, and inventors, somewhat similar to what Alex was doing. Additionally, Ferriss had a strong influence in the entrepreneurial circle. Why Tim Ferriss? Alex discovered in one of his books that Tim Ferriss pledged to donate 10% of the book's royalties to a charitable website. Coincidentally, Alex had a very close friend working at that website. This created a transparent chain of credibility. Alex first contacted his friend, introduced his project, and gained his trust. Then, his friend introduced him to the person in charge of the charitable website. After establishing trust with them, Alex aimed to gain Tim Ferriss's trust. Furthermore, Tim Ferriss himself was worth interviewing, and after successfully interviewing him, Ferriss could potentially introduce Alex to Bill Gates. In essence, Alex's step toward the central goal earned him one more point of credibility endorsement in this network of credibility. He accumulated enough credibility capital when he got closer to the center. Of course, the actual process was more intricate than outlined here, and Alex's interview plan took a full 7 years to materialize. In the end, following this action strategy, although Alex didn't complete his entire interview list, he managed to interview a significant portion. He met Bill Gates, Steve Wozniak, Steve Jobs' partner, and famous actress Jessica Alba and secured one-on-one interviews with them. This part of Alex Banayan's journey illustrates how he skillfully built a network of credibility, turned seemingly unrelated connections into valuable endorsements, and ultimately transformed himself from an unknown individual into someone who could sit down with high-profile figures for interviews. It's a remarkable lesson in utilizing networking, relationships, and strategic thinking to accomplish ambitious goals. Let's explore how Alex turned the interview content into a book. As previously mentioned, the interviews themselves could have uncovered groundbreaking information. According to conventional thinking, if the collected material is familiar, it's assumed that a book couldn't be written. However, Alex approached this challenge from a different angle. Although the interviews might have been better regarding the information they yielded, the ultimate purpose wasn't solely about the interviews. Alex's primary goal wasn't just to conduct interviews and write a book that taught people how to take that crucial first step toward success. And did he know how to take that step himself? Certainly. Even though the celebrities he interviewed didn't explicitly tell him, his entire journey of conducting interviews became a textbook in itself. It started with raising the initial funding and included interviewing Tim Ferriss. Along this path, Alex identified the missing link in the chain of success, the ability to think outside the box and take unconventional paths. The book's title, The Third Door, encapsulates this concept of taking a different, less traveled route. Moreover, throughout the execution of his plan, Alex himself became a celebrity within the entrepreneurial circle. Practically everyone knew about the young individual who used his game show winnings to fund an ambitious interviewing project. He even received invitations from significant companies to give lectures. At this point, the content of the interviews became less significant. Alex had already unveiled his complete action strategy. This strategy, from gathering the initial funds to executing his plans, was now a blueprint for success, making him a celebrity in his own right. By sharing his journey and strategy, Alex essentially created a guide to success that focused on thinking differently and seizing unconventional opportunities. From this story, I've extracted 3 actionable strategies. 1. Empathetic perspective. Thinking from a different angle allows you to uncover rules others might not perceive, increasing your chances of success. Just like how Alex participated in the TV game show. 2. Building credibility. When establishing credibility quickly, create an action network. Gain endorsements from others at each node, gradually getting closer to your ultimate goal. Similar to Alex's approach in interviewing Bill Gates. 3. Transformation of pursuit. If the intended outcome doesn't meet your expectations, consider how the pursuit could be transformed into another valuable aspect, just like how Alex turned his experiences into a book. Now, let's address the question, why did everyone Alex met willingly help him? The answer was hinted at the beginning. It's because Alex was a master at packaging his experiences. Almost everyone he met was captivated by his story. Alex's storytelling skills were simple enough. They revolved around 2 core elements. 1. Element of surprise. This means including a surprising element in your story that can be summarized in a single sentence, which excites people's curiosity. Successful movies often have this element. For example, The Wandering Earth surprised audiences by moving Earth to a new solar system. 2. Portraying dramatic conflict. This depicts a dilemma where whatever you do seems right but also wrong. This creates a sense of tension that engages the audience. In Alex's story, his dramatic conflict was choosing between pursuing his dreams or adhering to his family's expectations. A key point here is that only some stories might naturally have an element of surprise or dramatic conflict. But if yours doesn't, consider adding these elements for a more compelling narrative. Remember, a successful story often hinges on its ability to capture attention, evoke emotion, and resonate with the audience. Alex, in his own right, became a skilled storyteller, and his journey is a testament to how these narrative techniques can make your experiences captivating and impactful.